She's no longer just a college legend or a WNBA star. She's a global figure shaping how women's basketball is.
They didn't welcome her, they hunted her. The moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, the illusion shattered. College dominance didn't travel with her. Records didn't translate. Highlights didn't protect anyone here. This league had its own language, and it spoke through contact. Veteran defenders didn't simply guard her. They tested her. Every cut came with a shoulder. Every off-ball moment carried a tug, a lean, a reminder. Late hits slipped and unnoticed. Possessions felt charged, like someone was waiting to see if she would hesitate. This wasn't rookie hazing. It was more intentional than that. Sharper, calculated, a warning disguised as physical defense. Caitlin wasn't just another rookie learning pace and spacing. She was the most watched newcomer the league had seen in decades. Cameras followed. Her warm-ups, arenas sold out because her name was on the ticket. The WNBA had a new center of gravity, and gravity always attracts resistance. Fame doesn't earn protection. It paints a target. Very quickly, she understood this level wasn't only about skill. It was about endurance. Spacing closed faster, bodies were stronger, contact lingered. Fouls stacked up in her body even when they didn't show on the scoreboard. Bruises layered, and the whistle stayed quiet. By mid-season, the numbers told the truth no press conference would. She was among the most fouled rookies in the league, one of the most fouled players overall. Yet when she looked around, something felt off. Other rookies weren't absorbing this. Other stars weren't being tested the same way. That's when it clicked. This wasn't random. This was intentional. They weren't just trying to slow her down. They were sending a message: you don't belong here yet. But Caitlin Clark had never listened to limits. Not at 5, not at 15, and not now. Because pressure doesn't crush everyone. Sometimes it forges something dangerous. Long before cameras and crowds, Caitlin Clark learned how to fight. Not under bright lights, not in sold-out arenas, but inside a loud, competitive house in Iowa where nothing came easy and everything had to be earned. As the middle child between brothers, she was always chasing, always proving, always pushing for space in rooms that didn't naturally make room for her. Competition wasn't optional in that house, it was constant. If there was a game, Caitlin wanted to win it. If there was a rule, she tested it. If there was a challenge, she ran straight at it. Her family didn't raise a prodigy chasing praise, they raised a competitor obsessed with outcomes. Sports weren't extracurricular activities, they were culture. Her father had played at a high level, her grandfather coached. Discipline wasn't motivational language, it was expectation, and Caitlin didn't just participate. She obsessed. Basketball wasn't her only arena. Soccer, volleyball, tennis, softball. Everywhere she went, she stood out, but she wasn't always the biggest. She didn't dominate with size or strength, so she adapted early. She learned skill. She mastered timing. She leaned into FEAR/LESS/NESS. When there wasn't a girls' league, she played with boys. When she was smaller, she became smarter. When she was pushed, she pushed back harder. By her early teens, coaches noticed something rare. Not just talent, edge. She didn't celebrate wins. She studied them. She didn't fear older players. She challenged them, and that hunger never faded. Success didn't soften it, it sharpened it. That same edge followed her, from small Iowa gyms to packed college arenas, to a professional league that wasn't prepared for how relentless she truly was. By the time Caitlin Clark reached college, she was no longer a secret hiding in plain sight. She didn't rise quietly through the ranks, inch by inch. She detonated. Scoring titles piled up almost immediately. Logo 3 stretched defenses far beyond what felt reasonable. Triple-doubles stopped being milestones and became expectations. She created moments that didn't feel real until they were slowed down, replayed, and analyzed, as if the world needed proof that what it had just seen was possible. She shattered records that had survived for decades. She did things no freshman had ever done, not just at her school, but across the entire sport. Night after night, she carried teams on her back without hesitation and without apology. Fans adored her because she made difficulty look effortless. Defenses feared her because no scheme ever felt complete. There was always one more shot she could take, one more angle she could find. But dominance doesn't buy safety, it buys attention. And attention invites resistance. By her final college season, Caitlin wasn't just being guarded. She was being hunted by entire game plans, trapped the moment she crossed half court, blitzed by double and triple teams, forced to absorb contact. On every possession, on ball and off ball, the wear showed in her body. But the production never dipped. She kept delivering. Final Fours, historic performances, a level of national obsession women's basketball hadn't experienced before. She didn't just elevate her program, she elevated the entire sport. Then she crossed into the pros and everything reset. The scoreboard returned to zero. The respect vanished overnight. The hits came first. Then the turnovers, then the injuries. Her body absorbed a kind of contact it had never faced before, and for the first time, the unstoppable scorer looked human. That didn't comfort people. It unsettled them, not because she was failing, but because they sensed what was coming. Athletes like Caitlin Clark don't disappear when challenged. They adjust, they sharpen, they evolve. Pain teaches lessons talent never will. By the end of her rookie season, Caitlin Clark's body told a truth no headline could soften. Missed games, lingering soreness, hits that echoed long after the final buzzer. This was unfamiliar territory. She had never missed time like this before, not once in her career. Now it was happening quickly. And it wasn't easing up. She felt it everywhere, in the mornings, when stiffness lingered longer than it used to, in the film room, replaying moments she rarely had to question before, in the way defenders leaned into her without hesitation, without fear. So she studied, she rewound possessions. She watched how often contact knocked her off balance, how easily defenders could disrupt her rhythm with strength alone. It wasn't about skill. It wasn't about confidence. The truth was simpler and harsher. The league was ruthless, and if she didn't change, it would keep taking pieces from her season by season. This was the moment most stars try to outrun, the moment where ego is exposed. Caitlin could have complained. She could have demanded more protection. She could have leaned on her status, her numbers, her name. She chose none of it. Instead, she made the hardest decision of all. She took responsibility. She accepted the reality in front of her and decided to rebuild herself from the ground up. No excuses, no shortcuts, no public declarations, just work. Because survival at this level isn't about who arrives the most talented. It's about who's willing to evolve when the game stops being kind and starts demanding more than talent alone. There were no announcements, no dramatic captions, no watch me grind montages designed for applause. Caitlin Clark disappeared from the noise and went straight to work. 4 to 5 days a week, no shortcuts, no wasted movements. Every session was customized, painfully intentional, built not to impress cameras, but to solve problems the league had exposed. This wasn't random lifting, it was reconstruction. Single leg strength to keep her grounded through contact, isometric holds to absorb hits without losing balance, core stability to anchor her body so defenders couldn't knock her upright and off rhythm. The details mattered, even her passing mechanics changed. Her left arm grew stronger, her base widened, her posture lowered. Every adjustment was made with one goal in mind: stay in control when chaos arrived. This transformation had nothing to do with aesthetics. It wasn't about looking powerful in still photos or trending clips. It was about staying upright when the league tried to knock her flat. Possession after possession, recovery became non-negotiable. Nutrition tightened, sleep mattered, everything was measured. Creating sparked controversy. Some questioned it, some misunderstood it. Caitlin didn't respond. She didn't need to. This wasn't about optics. It was about longevity. About building a body that could withstand an entire season of targeted physicality and still deliver in the fourth quarter. She wasn't training for highlights. She was training for survival, because at this level, talent alone doesn't last. Only preparation does. Then came the photo. One frame, one flex, one unplanned moment that lit the internet on fire. She wasn't in uniform. She wasn't performing. She was simply standing there, cheering, relaxed, unaware that the image would spread faster than anything she'd ever done on the court. And suddenly, everyone noticed. Her arms, her shoulders, her presence. Something had changed, and the world felt it instantly. Comments flooded in. Debates ignited. Speculation ran wild. Had she really transformed? Was it lighting? Was it angles? Was it too much? Sports blogs dissected the image like evidence. Fans argued in comment sections. Analysts reacted on live television. A single photo became a national conversation. What made the moment even louder was her silence. Caitlin didn't post it. She didn't explain it. She didn't capitalize on it. She let the image exist on its own, because strength doesn't need defending. It announces itself. That silence spoke volumes. It told the story better than any caption could. This wasn't a rebrand. It wasn't a stunt. It was the visible result of months spent rebuilding in private, far away from praise and opinion. The photo was The transformation, it was the proof, and once people saw it, they understood something important. Caitlin Clark hadn't just adjusted to the league. She had prepared herself to survive it, and eventually, to control it. When Caitlin Clark finally spoke, she didn't flex. She didn't posture or lean into the moment the internet had created for her. She smiled. She joked. She deflected the noise just enough to keep it from sticking. And then, almost casually, she told the truth. I'm just getting stronger. No drama, no speech, no explanation wrapped in justification. Just facts. That restraint mattered. In a world obsessed with reactions, Caitlin chose calm. She understood something many athletes never do. The loudest response is consistency. The work had already been done long before the cameras noticed, long before the debates and think pieces, long before people started counting muscles instead of points. Her words weren't meant to end the conversation. They were meant to redirect it. Strength wasn't the story. Preparation was. This wasn't a sudden change sparked by attention. It was a deliberate response to reality. The league had shown her what it demanded, and she had listened. That kind of composure doesn't come from confidence alone. It comes from certainty. From knowing you've done the work when no one was watching. Caitlin didn't need validation because she wasn't guessing. She knew exactly why her body had changed and what it was built to handle now. The calmness in her response sent a quiet message. She wasn't reacting to the league anymore. She was responding on her own terms. And once that shift happens, everything changes. The results didn't take long to show up. They never do when preparation finally meets opportunity. Almost immediately, the game shifted around Caitlin Clark. Possession slowed in her favor. Defenses collapsed with urgency, only to find themselves a step too late. Assists piled up as teammates found space created by her gravity. Efficiency climbed because contact no longer knocked her off balance. It activated her. Bumps that once disrupted rhythm barely registered anymore. She stopped circling defenders. She stopped searching for clean angles. She went straight through them. With patience replacing chaos and clarity replacing rushed decisions, triple doubles became routine. League-leading numbers stacked up. History had to be rewritten. Again, but this time it wasn't about raw talent. It was about control, command. Every possession now carried the weight of inevitability. She wasn't merely surviving plays, she was dictating them. Defenses adjusted, and she adjusted faster. Traps became passing lanes. Physicality became leverage. What once slowed her down now worked against the opponents themselves. The most dangerous version of Caitlin Clark wasn't defined by range or scoring titles. It was her mastery of space, her ability to read angles before anyone else realized they existed, her capacity to punish mistakes with surgical precision. Every decision carried foresight. Every movement carried authority. She didn't just execute, she imposed. The transformation didn't make her flashier, it made her unstoppable. Inevitability had a name, and it was Caitlin Clark. With greatness came isolation. The higher Caitlin Clark climbed, the narrower the space around her became. More eyes followed every step, dissecting every motion. More criticism waited for every missed shot. More expectations piled onto every performance, heavy and unrelenting. Visibility has a price, and it demands payment every day, whether you are ready or not. Every move was analyzed, every expression became evidence, even silence was interpreted. In a world hungry for symbols, she became one, whether she wanted it or not. Yet, through the scrutiny, she remained steady. Family grounded her when the noise threatened to consume her. Purpose anchored her when expectations threatened to pull her apart. Giving back, quietly, consistently, reminded her who she was beyond the spotlight. She never chased approval. That was never the goal. Applause fades. Headlines fade. Caitlin chased mastery, the kind built on discipline, focus, and vision. The kind that doesn't depend on the fleeting opinion of others. Being the face of something bigger than yourself can hollow people out. It can turn identity into performance. But Caitlin refused to surrender to the pressure. She protected the parts of herself that didn't belong to the public, the competitor, the student of the game, the person who still loved the grind and the process. That balance is rare, and it's why the pressure never crushed her. It refined her. Every eye watching, every whisper about her limits, every attempt to define her became fuel. She didn't just survive under the weight of expectation. She used it to sharpen herself into a standard no one else could match. They tried to break her. Every hit, every ignored foul, every attempt to wear her down did the opposite. It forged her sharper, stronger, and more dangerous than anyone had ever seen. Caitlin Clark didn't transform for attention. She didn't rebuild herself to satisfy headlines or debates. She transformed because greatness demands adaptation. Because the game always finds your limits and waits to see what you will do next. She answered. Now, the league isn't testing her anymore, it's adjusting to her. Defenses bend earlier. Physicality is measured differently. Game plans are drawn with her presence in mind before the opening tip. Opponents no longer experiment on her. They anticipate her. That is when the shift is complete. They didn't slow her rise. They accelerated it. What they created wasn't just a stronger player. They created a standard, a blueprint for resilience, a living reminder that pressure doesn't destroy the prepared. It reveals them. Every challenge that should have broken her only polished her. Every doubter only made her sharper. Every hard foul became a step in her evolution. Caitlin Clark wasn't broken by the league. She was forged by it, and now the league exists in her shadow.